Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the J Lounge. I know it's been a minute, but we are back better and stronger than ever. I appreciate everyone for listening and joining in today. Of course, in case you guys forgot, the J Lounge is a celebrity based podcast show where we talk to celebrities, actors, directors, singers, you name it, they all come down here and they all have a wonderful time. I am super excited to be speaking with my next guest. He is a rising star and a hip hop artist, and he is here to speak about his music. So I'm very excited to be having him here today. Everyone, give a super warm welcome to artist Blackwell. Hey, Blackwell.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
Hi. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Doing good.
Oh, good, good. I am so glad you were able to join us here today. I am very excited to be able to speak with you. I'm going to go ahead and get us started and fire the first question at you. What began your
Okay.
passion for music there, Blackwell? What brought this on?
Well, to be honest, I come from a Motown and gospel home. So I've always
What?
had music from the day I was born. Hip hop was one of those things that I just accidentally fell into. I actually got a hold of a Sugar Hill Gang Rappers Delight, and I actually heard it. And when I told my parents about it, they figure hip hop rap, it's just a fad. So my dad actually went out and got the record for me. He actually kind of liked it. He thought it was funny. And I was like, that and I was like, that's what I want to do. I said, I want to do the music. I want to be, the DJ. I wasn't so much really into rap, doing the rap. I wanted behind the scenes. But as I went to college for music and marketing, the whole class was into that, but none of them were like musicians. So our final project to graduate was to take an artist, put them out, market them, advertise them, make a video, and they picked me. And I was like, but I'm not, I do rap, but it was not something that
Right.
it was one of those things that I grew up wanting to rap, and I was just good at putting things together. So I end up making, and this is going to show my real age. We end up making a cassette tape, and we put it out in the stores. I'll never forget, we put out 100 of them. We sold 80 of them, and I was just like, who was buying my music? Who was, And I'm like, and they're like, Blackwell, you're an artist. You are an artist because you are a rap artist. And I was like, wow, this is, and ever since then, I have always been into music. I love behind the scenes, but it got to the point where you run into so many unreliable like artists or
Right.
people not serious. I decided I'm just going to do it myself. And as I got older, I was like, nah, I'm going to quit because I'm getting older. But then I look at the people who influenced me, and they still going. So I said, no, forget that. I'm still going. As long as I got someone who likes it, buys it, and I got the energy to do it. I always tell people, I am hip hop. I was born hip hop.
Yes. Yes. I love it. That is so interesting. I was expecting to hear, I grew up, listening to the greats, Tupac, Biggie. But the fact that you came from a
No,
gospel background, and I'm glad that your parents didn't like throw out like the music, because some parents, they don't like the hip hop music, but I'm glad that your dad embraced it because yeah, look where you are now. That is
no,
amazing.
I came from I was definitely gospel and R&B background because I can't even name all the gospel artists we used to listen to in the house, and Motown was huge in my house. My
Yes.
dad's favorite singer was Aretha Franklin, and my
We go loud
mom
and
she loved
proud.
Teddy Pendergrass. So it
Mm.
was like that's as I could say they liked the real when music was real back then,
Thank
um,
you.
and and that's all I ever heard. And when I discovered hip hop, it was more of a shock to my parents more than anything because it became so. I mean, it was always there, but it became so prominent as I got
Yeah.
older. And like my mom, her favorite rapper was MC Hammer, and I'm like, Mom, MC Hammer, he just this and that. But as I got more into hip hop, I started to learn. Okay, because like I said, I graduated in marketing, and as I grew, as you grow up and you're listening to this and you're
Hmm.
seeing this, I'm like, well, I don't care if you like him or not. You got a good marketing plan because everybody's buying those baggy pants or
Yep.
walking around saying you can't touch this. So I mean, he started something. So it was.
Yeah.
Like I said I grew up and I kind of like fell into hip hop, and in a way, hip hop was kind of my my outlet
Hmm.
my outlet when I was upset or outlet when I was, mad. I love to write. So hip hop
Yeah,
became like my outlet. So instead of
that's
doing something
amazing.
stupid in the street or say the wrong thing, I put in the music. So
That is
that's what I tell
awesome.
people.
That
I,
is
I
amazing.
like.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Going into the second question, name three people who influenced your career.
I would say my father, Rakim from Eric Van Rakim, and great rest in power, Heavy D. For the simple reason,
Yes.
I my father, first of all, because my father gave me simple advice. He was in the military, so he just said, don't take the word no.
Hmm.
If someone tells you no, just be like, okay, I'll go to the next door. And he says, if someone doesn't like what you do, take that criticism, work on it, move on to the next thing, and use it to your advantage. My dad always just kept me going, and that's why one of my biggest influence. Because being in hip hop, it's so many rappers out there, and you're trying to compete. And at some point, you get like, I don't even want to do this anymore. And my dad said, whenever you feel like giving up, do something totally different. He says,
Hmm.
when you go on stage, act like there ain't nobody there. You just home acting a fool and going up stage like you own it.
Hmm.
So it was a lot of good advice from my dad. Rakim, because his lyrical style was something I never heard before growing up. We was used to all the other styles from everybody from like Kumo D or
Hmm.
Run DMC. And when Rakim came out, it took everybody by storm because no one had that kind of flow. No one. And the fact that he could do flow and it dealt with the streets and dealt with him, and there was not one cuss word in the whole song, that was it was unheard of. And that's why I was like, okay, I used to listen to it day and night. Heavy D became my biggest influence for the music and basically behind the music that he did. He did hip hop where you'd have a party or you're talking to a girl. It wasn't like derogatory or saying this or that. He just had fun with it.
Hmm.
And that's the kind of hip hop I want to do. Um,
Yeah.
I love what he did. So a lot of my influence did come from old school. The biggest was probably my father for teaching me just not to give up and just
Hmm.
to keep on, especially in this music business because he didn't know the music business, but he says it's like life. He says you're gonna get the no's, you're gonna get the criticisms, you're gonna get the people who think support you, don't support you. He says you gotta keep on going and have alligator skin, as they say.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
those were my three biggest influences.
I love that. I'm so glad that someone is giving Heavy D his props. I feel like not enough artists gives Heavy D his props because he
No,
did
they
bring
don't.
fun, the energy to hip hop. He brought something different, and it was just yeah, it was great. It was great. So I'm glad that you have appreciation and that you're giving him his flowers because even though he's not around anymore, his influence, his impact is still felt in hip hop today. So yeah.
Oh, most definitely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Going on to the next question. For first time listeners of your music, Blackwell, what song would you suggest they listen to really get you as a hip hop artist?
Ah, that's a really good one. I've been think about that one. To be honest with you, to really understand it, because I've been doing this for a long time, but I have a song out right now called Pound Cake, and
Hmm.
it's the best way I can say people can understand my style, what my music is aimed to, because I started doing hip hop and I started, making songs about all being in the street and this and that, and that wasn't me. I didn't grow up in the
Yes.
streets.
Hmm.
But I did grow up with a preference, and I like big size women, curvy women, plus size. So I aim my music towards that. And that all started from when I was actually younger.
Hmm.
And the song Pound Cake, the reason why I picked that one because it's that I have out right now, because that was the first song I've done, and with Lily the Goddess, shouts out to her. I did that song, and it was like I was so pumped about doing it, and the wordplay that I could use in it, and the positive feedback I got with it, it was unbelievable. That's the kind of hip hop I like to do. That's the kind of
Hmm.
the people hear it, even if they say, well, the lyrics for this or a hook was this, but the music is unbelievable. there's something
Yes.
about that song everybody likes. So that would be the song that I tell people, listen to that. I tell people who send me beats, you want to know what kind of beats to send me? Listen to my song Pound Cake. I say, yeah,
Ooh.
it's up tempo, it's dance, it's it's positive. I said that's what I like to do. Because like I say, when I
Yeah.
get into a stage, or if you when I'm on the stage or performing, I like to get the people going.
Yeah. Exactly. Kind of like, when you heard, Flow Riders Low for the first time. It wasn't,
Oh yes,
derogatory, but it was a type of music that got you moving. Okay. I mean, it's
exactly,
that type of fun
exactly.
song that you described with Pound Cake. It's that type of fun song. You're like, okay, once this song hits, everybody's moving to the dance floor. You know it. you know.
Yeah, because
So
I've
I
had a lot
love
of people ask me, why'd you call a song Pound Cake? And the reason behind that is or I mean, this is like back in the day, saying that men would see, a real pretty thick girl, really curvy girl,
yeah.
like, hey, you got some pound cake. And they would be like, some of them would be, take it to heart and be like, yeah, I got that pound cake. And, that, I mean, this is from way back in my dad's generation where this slang came from. And I was actually heard it at a club one night. And I was like, and the guy had said that, and the girl turned around. She's like, "Oh, you mean all this pound cake?" And it just triggered me. I said, "What if I wrote a song about pound cake?" Ironically enough, that is my favorite dessert. But when I
Obviously, that is my favorite dessert.
yeah, that's why the album cover looks like the way it does. Um,
Ah, that's
but
brilliant. You should have a little side note with that. That is my favorite dessert. Because you're right, it
it was
is
just
good
one of those
now.
things. Yeah, and I was like, that'd be a funny song to write about. And so I said, so I did it. And I remember when Lily, she heard it, and she goes, "What's this song called?" I said, "Pound Cake." She's like, "Okay, Blackwell, you got to explain this one." I said, "Well, look," I said, because it just was one of those things where I wanted something catchy. And nowadays, the hip hop that's out now, I probably like about 20% of it.
I
Um,
agree.
but there's nothing. You see, you got to make some, especially with me being, you know, from the old school. I said, I got to make something that'll stand out. Where people will be like, even if they like it or they don't like it, they gonna know that name Pound Cake. So
Exactly.
I went with that, and so far we've had positive results.
Love it. Love it. And that's exactly what I like to hear. Trying to make, yeah, pound cake the new low. Like how low was before. Exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
That's awesome. All right, going on to the next question. Blackwell, describe your sound. Now, I know you said you have a little bit of hip hop influence, but you said there's a little bit more of a upbeat tempo to it. Describe your sound. How would you describe?
Um, I'm gonna describe my sound as upbeat R&B and hip hop, or no, I should say upbeat hip hop and R&B, because I grew up on a lot of R&B, and I love
Yes.
like the mid tempo or upbeat R&B. People like John B, Donnell
Ooh.
Jones, Silk.
Mm-hmm.
With them songs that were like, get people to the dance floor. And then when you mix hip hop with it, like Heavy D would do, all his songs had. I mean, there was music, there was R&B mixed in it. So I always
Huh.
describe what I do as more of hip hop and R&B upbeat dance. Um, because
Love
like I
it.
said, I want to have that kind of music with the things going on nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs something just to get away from it all. So I like to make
Yes.
that kind of music that gets you on the floor and dance and just forget about everything else.
I am 100% for it. Yes. We definitely need more dance. It's about to be summer. We definitely need more upbeat,
Yes,
positive, that early 2000 summer song. Like, think of Will Smith's Summertime. How that's a
yes,
perfect
he's
summer
another one.
song. We need to have the perfect summer song for now. So, and Blackwell's working on it. So thank God. Thank God. All right, going on to the next question. Blackwell, I want to make sure my audience is able to follow you, your work. Where are you on social media if you are? Where are you on the music platforms as well?
You can find me on SoundCloud.com. It's official Blackwell. TikTok, and Instagram. It's official Blackwell. You can also catch me on Spotify. You can go on YouTube at official underscore Blackwell and all those different sites, and it will definitely pull you up. Or you pull up one, there's all links to all the other ones.
Mm-hmm. Oh, perfect. And of course, I highly encourage my audience, make sure you follow Blackwell on all those and stream his music because we want to hear more of his music. And yeah, we definitely need him to make the song of the summer. So make sure you support and stream. Going on to the next question. What future projects are you currently involved with that you can give a little dish about to the J Lounge audience?
Well, next month in June, me and Lily are releasing a new song. It's called "Dat Bounce." We
Ooh,
kind of call it our sequel to Pound Cake, so that should be that. Hopefully, that's going to be popping. And we also have an upcoming show in June, and I'm also actually in a movie on July 1st. It's going to be on
what?
National Geographic TV. It's called Mother's Nature's and the Doomsday Preppers. I was only had a I was only an extra, but then it turned into me being a cameo in it. So I can't wait for that one. Um,
Awesome.
and and as of today, I just found out that my song Pound Cake, which has gone into rotation with Bushrod Radio, internet radio. So shout out to them. I just found out today. And I also got Joe, if y'all remember the R&B singer Joe.
Yeah.
I took one of his unreleased songs and I put my own little remix to it and send it to him and see how he likes it. He approved it, so we're going to drop that in June. He's
Yeah.
he's going to redo some things and we're going to drop that too. So
Look at
it's
you,
going to be a good
Blackwell.
summer.
That is awesome. How perfect, Joe. I mean, come on, who doesn't remember Joe? That man made
Oh
R&B
my
hits.
goodness,
Okay.
he's he's another one. Don't get the credit he deserves. That's why when he approved it, I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." He says, "Let's put it out." I said, "Okay."
Oh, that
So
is awesome. That is awesome. See what happens when you let your talent speak for yourself and doors open. That is
uh,
awesome. I'm excited for you.
thank you,
Definitely keep us here at the J Lounge posted. And yeah, that is amazing news.
thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Going on to the next question. What goals do you hope to accomplish in your career?
To be honest with you, I know everybody goes, especially in this music business, get rich and buy this and buy that. But one of my biggest goals is to get to that point where, yeah, we all want to live nice and take care of family. But I also like to see some of these artists come with me. In other words, come with me and expand and be able to get out there and get on their own and make a good
Exactly.
living at this. Um, I'm more of a person that I like to bring other artists in that are good, that are struggling, and if I can help them get to that peak, as they say, the mountain peak.
Hmm.
If I'm already at that mountain peak, I want to pull them up there with me. So I want to get some of these artists um, out there with me, um, which is like one of my goals. I know
Yeah.
in some rappers they can tell you they're I want a big house and I want to do this for family, which is fine. That's that's that I don't knock that. But the first goal is always you got to take care of yourself before you can do anything for anybody or for anybody can do something for you. You got to take care of yourself. But along that way, is don't forget the ones that were there with you on the bottom or when you was trying to get there. And I have a few artists that I do work with, and I stay in contact with them. Even though they may be going through this and that, and trying to get their music going. But my goal is to bring them all with me, and we all sit at that mountaintop and just enjoy life and make music.
Yeah, absolutely. All of that sounds amazing. All of that sounds amazing. And that is great. Expanding the table. Once you make it, just expand the table so someone else can do the same thing, so we all can
Exactly.
so we all can make it. I love that. I definitely love that. All right, going on to the next question. Any advice for aspiring artists who are hoping to be successful, such as yourself?
My biggest advice would be learn that this is a business. 20% talent, 80% business. When you get that marinated into your mind that that's what this is, you'll be better off. Learn the business, get your education, get you a good job. You want to be in this business. I don't care if you're a rapper, singer, or play, whatever you do. Learn this business. If you want to go out and be a rapper, or like in my case, you want to do hip hop. That's great. But before you do that, learn how this business works. Keep people around you, and I tell people this, and they kind of don't understand. The people who are going to support you are not going to be your friends and family, for the simple reason they're going to tell you, "Oh yeah, you're good," because who you are. Get people in your circle who are doing what you are doing more than what you want to do. Like in my instance, on what I'm doing, I get friends with a director who's making movies out there, and he's got movies in the theaters and everything. And I'm friends with him because the simple reason is you want to keep them kind of people in your circle, not an entourage or your friends or whatever. You want to keep that circle small and keep people around you that are doing things bigger than you, so you can learn from them, so you can expand. Um, he's telling me how he's making movies. I was in one of his movies, watching how he directs movies and how it can relate to music. These are the kind of people you want to have. You want to have them people as friends. Um, and the business is you gotta learn this, but it changes every day. I came from where there was no streaming to now there's nothing but streaming,
Yeah,
and it doesn't pay a whole lot.
right.
And like one artist told me, there's really no music in streaming. The music, the artist, where you make your money is from touring, from
Yep.
branding, from getting sponsored. That's where you make your money at. And for a while, it took me to learn. I mean, like I said, I'm no expert because I had to learn, and I'm learning that now. And I know the people that I have on my friends list that I talk to are either photographers, videographers, singers, people that work in business. Those are the kind of people you want to have on your team because you see that they're doing something like I want to learn how to do that. I'm gonna follow him. That's what you want. And I
Exactly.
don't, and I don't, like I said, the reason why I say family and friends are not going to support your music because they're not going to support it the way that it should be because it's not their nature. Your mom, your pop, your sister, brother, yeah, they're going to tell you, hey man, that's good. Yeah, I like that. But if you take it to a DJ or something, he'd be like, man, you need to do this, you need to do that, and then you start feeling a certain kind of way. It's not the DJ's, it's not anybody's fault. It's just you went to somebody who's telling you exactly what you need to do. You have people support you, yes, but they don't know to tell you exactly. I could say that except for, and I do say there's exception, is my wife, because she has told me, because she doesn't come from a hip hop background whatsoever. Hers is completely opposite. It's like classic rock and more adult contemporary. So when she hears me doing songs, sometimes she'll tell me, that don't sound good at all. And me, I'm like, what do you know? You don't know about hip hop. And then I'll go listen to it and be like, wow, she was right. This does sound like garbage. So I mean, um, and I mean, she's like my biggest support system. But if you're an artist out there, especially these young cats, I know you got your friends and everything, but follow the rules of the business. Follow the rules of putting out a song. Don't just record something and just drop it. Don't market it. Don't advertise it. And which is hard for a lot of them to understand. You do a song, you need at least 3 weeks to get people ready. And
Mm-hmm.
social media is free. It's free marketing. You can market that thing for 3 weeks and people wait till people get a vibe on it. Then that fourth week, you will get people. Well, where can I get it? Where can I download it? Boom, you got them. Put it out on that fourth week. They've heard it for 3 weeks in a row. You already do social media. You have
Exactly.
to learn how to market to get these people. Um, and I tell people I do a lot of open mics, and they're like, "Oh, well, I've done big shows, but
Mm-hmm.
the open mics I like doing because it's more close up and personal. And if somebody's not feeling your song, or if they are feeling your song, it's right there in your face. And
Right.
so it's like, okay,
No, you're speaking
now
the
I know
truth.
now I know what to correct. Now I know what to
Mm-hmm.
do, what not to do. Um, I had a habit of doing. I used to do songs, and like towards the end of the song, I give out little gifts to the crowd, like roses to the women with like my picture on it, like my business card, stuff like that.
Right.
And they would eat it up, but there's a little drawback to it. And it says sometimes you do that, and they say you only do it for like 10 different women. Then you got a whole crowd. Well, he ain't give me anything. I ain't gonna listen to his stuff anymore. So you can,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those, you kind of judge what you can do. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's the best thing. Like I said, learn this business, and everything is free. You got
Yep.
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. God, YouTube got so many different things. Um, Learn all
Yeah.
this, but learn marketing. I grew up marketing, and that's why I tell me learn how to market. It's not a thing where you
Hmm.
can record something and go drop it if you want it, unless you just doing it as a hobby. But if you wanted to take off, you gotta plan that. That's like the song me and the new song me and Lily were doing. We've been in the midst of playing this for 2 months, and people's like, "Oh, when you gonna drop it?" But, oh, it'll drop. But the thing
Yeah.
of it is, you got to create a buzz about it. Pancake or Pound Cake was one of those songs where I kind of planned it, but I kind of didn't
Right.
because I heard people's I played it for some people, and I was like, man, you got to drop that, you got to drop that, and I fell into that trap where it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna drop it. And that's like, wait, I don't have a video, I don't have an
Hmm.
audio video, I need a lyric video. So I kind of held back, and I started dropping things really slowly, and it started to take off.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, but that's the thing I like to tell these young cats. It's all marketing and all
Yep.
business. You have to learn that. I can't stress that enough because I said a lot of these. I have a lot of
Yeah.
talented cats I meet, and they say, "Oh, I'm going to studio. Then we're going to drop it Friday." I said, "So it won't do nothing by Saturday." They're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Black, what you mean?" I said, "Dude, wait 3 weeks." He goes, "Oh, I don't want to wait 3." I said, "Do you know how much social media there's out there that you can promote this? Not even put it on Spotify. Not even drop it. You can all the little
Right.
TikTok things you can do, all the Instagram you do, build it up
No,
to finally."
that's a lot of, yeah, that is true. That is
And
definitely
I
true.
told him because I had to do it. I made the mistake of just dropping music and just putting it out there, and oh, I didn't do anything. I didn't market. I didn't give him nothing
Yeah.
to build up to. So that's my
Yeah,
advice.
that's really good advice. That is really good advice. And I hope, my audience that are listening, they take that to word because that is really good advice. All right, we got just two more questions here just to wrap up. Going on to the next question. Where are your favorite places to perform?
Oh wow, that's a good one. The one place that and I got two. One is called the Chill Rooms here in Florida, and they have open mic. I like it because it's a small little venue, but I like it because it's personal, and you have so many different acts in there, and everybody learns from each other on stage. We learn mic technique. So after you get done performing, hey man, I like that song, but I couldn't hear like the hook part. Everybody learns, and it's a great place to perform. You chill. Um, I'm not a big drinker. It's not an alcohol place. You go there and you have your little tea or your coffee. Um, it's I love it. I love the chill room. Shout out to the chill room because I'll be there Friday. Um, my next favorite place to perform, I don't even know if it's around anymore. It was called Mr. Small's Theater. It was in Millville, Pennsylvania, and the reason why I like performing there, that was my first sold out show I ever did. I opened up for Bone Thugs and Harmony, and it was the
Wow.
very first time. It was the most that memorable show I ever had. It was scary because it was sold out, and I can't remember how many thousands of people they were there, but the sound man when I was performing, the sound cut off. He did something, and I had to go a cappella for like 1 2 minutes. That don't sound like much, but trust me, when you're on stage and you get thrown a curve like that. So I did a cappella, and I got the crowd into it. And then when he cut the music back on, I just went with it. And they all thought it was part of the act, um, which was great. But when I came off that stage, I think I was crying because I was never thrown a curve like that, and that just made me learn right then and there. Be ready for anything. And even the guys from Bone Thugs and Harmony, they're like, dude, that was pretty slick how you did that. And I was like, and they knew. they knew something had happened, but the way that I kept going. And it was just one of those places I just loved performing at because they made you feel welcome.
That's
They
awesome.
really made you feel welcome and everything. But the number one place for me right now has been the chill room over in Florida. It's just one of those laid back places. You come back, you chill, you see all kinds of different music, um, get to meet new people, meet the network. So I give them a huge shout out.
That's awesome. Huge shout out to the Chill Room in Florida. If you haven't been there before, definitely go. Yeah, that is awesome. All right, we just got a couple more minutes, about 5 more minutes to go there, Blackwell. I'm going to ask you one more quick question. What are some of your passions outside of music?
Believe it or not, my passion outside of music um, has been almost it's film. It's for some reason I don't know how I got into it, but from being in the extras in a couple of different movies, I've done some commercials, and I've seemed to get more and more movie and commercial roles. I've actually started getting into being in film and making film, making commercials or making short story films. Um, it's just something that I want to learn about. I'm slowly learning it. That's a friend of mine that's a director. His name is Cameron. I shout out to him because I was in a Hallmark movie, which is actually on Hallmark TV now. Um, and I got to see behind the scenes how everything works, and it just intrigued me. I'm like, I want to do that. I want to, shoot movies, um, maybe direct, do a little commercials, because people don't. I don't think people understand how much time goes into these movies or commercials, and it's not what you think.
Yeah.
But my passion is definitely into getting into movies and film and commercials and things stuff like that. Not so much shooting music videos. Um, I've done that before. But films are a little different because you get to learn a lot of different aspects. I'm in a movie that's out now. It's called Hats Off to Love. Thank you. Shout out to Hallmark because you can watch
Yeah.
it on Hallmark right now. Um, I got to meet Holly Robinson Pete. Really, really nice lady. Really nice from Hanging Mr. Cooper. It was great to meet her. And we did a scene, and it's just amazing. We did a scene, it had to be for 8 hours. We did the same scene. Now, you watch the movie, it's in there for maybe like 30 seconds. And I'm like, that's it. But I realized the different takes that they took, and I see why they picked that one. So I was like, it's a learning process, and it's just something that I've just got into.
Yeah. That is awesome. That is so interesting that in movies, hopefully, it'd be cool if we see Blackwell in a leading role, comedy wise, maybe dramedy wise. Either way, that would be kind of
I always
cool.
joke with my wife. I tell her, I said, if I get a role in a Marvel movie, you ain't gonna work again.
No, you're so right about that. I mean, your future's grandchildren wouldn't have to work again. You guys would be set up
Nope.
for like life.
I could be the guy that the Hulk throws across the room, and that's it. That's my whole role. I'll be set for life after that.
I don't need a huge role. I could be just someone that the Hulk tosses around and there, boom. There's my 7 million for the
Exactly.
rest of my life.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, Blackwell, it's been an absolute pleasure to be able to speak with you today. I appreciate you for giving me your time. I'm really glad that you
Oh,
came
no
on here,
problem.
talked about your music, and gave them a chance for my audience to get to know you.
Thanks for having me. I truly appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. You are welcome. And of course, I highly want to encourage my audience one more time. Make sure you follow Blackwell on social media and in music platforms as well. We want to hear more of his music. We want to get more of his streams out. So make sure you guys do that and give him a shout and follow. Um, of course, you guys know I have been your hostess with the mostest, aka Miss Simone Jackson, bringing you guys another great episode of the J Lounge. Of course, you guys know I will be back to bring you guys another wonderful episode. I want to thank everyone for listening in. I want to thank my amazing guest, Mr. Blackwell, for joining in. And
Thank you.
everyone,
Thank you.
yes, absolutely. You have a wonderful evening, and I will be back soon. Bye.